Hey guys, it's the Wizard.
And here's Mountain Man. How y'all doing?
Yeah, so this is we're returning to Conspiracy with a Tote this week for you guys. I know it's long overdue, and I looked it up. Our last one was actually was it I think Area 51. No. Time travel.
Holy crap. That was a while ago.
Yeah.
That was back in the
It
old
was-
house, man.
I know, it's like one of our first like 6 episodes, man. It was crazy. All right. So tonight's agenda. Did America fake the moon landing?
Holy crap, dude.
Numero probably third on my most craziest conspiracy theory. That has to do with America.
Yeah.
Like
I think this is probably one of my favorite American conspiracy theories right here, dude.
Yeah, it's nuts to think about it because I mean the evidence, if you believe that we didn't, the evidence is very strong that we did, but obviously we're going to talk about the evidence that's against the fact that we maybe landed on the moon. So most of the stuff we talk about will be the conspiracy side of it. We're not going to talk about all the like how they landed on the moon, whatnot. It's as all if they landed on the moon. It's going to be strictly that. There'll be a few things in there that few conspiracies that they talked about that actually fact checked and wasn't a conspiracy, and it didn't end up. End up being a fabrication or a lie or something.
Oh man,
that.
I can't wait to see which ones are, because there's a few that I know that you know possibly could have happened. Whether that be them not actually landing there, to things that could have happened while they were there. So I'm pretty excited to see what exactly the world out there is telling us has been fact checked and no longer true.
So tonight's episode is going to be sponsored by a local business of ours that we help promote and all that, and they actually gave us a couple of infused goods to add to our raffle for our Instagram. So make sure you check that out. The round table _757. Check it out. I haven't met these guys, so I'm going to let Mountain Man talk, because Mountain Man has actually met these guys and stuff like that. So I'm going to let you talk about that. He actually went to, I believe, the pop-up. They were at the pop-up, right? So I'm going to let him talk about our sponsor tonight. And Mountain Man, go ahead.
Hey, so tonight's sponsor is Something Sweet. That's something_sweet on Instagram. These people are really cool, man. Something that we really pride ourselves on in our business is that we work with a lot of really good-hearted people, people that are running these small businesses, and they care about the community. They care about the person that they're serving. That's a really big thing for us, is finding businesses that are like-minded with us, that are about building the community back up more so than trying to make the money. Another thing that I really love about this company is that they really focus on display. They really focus their time on making sure that every single treat, as potent as it is also as beautiful as it is. So definitely go ahead and check them out at Something Sweet on Instagram, something_sweet.
All right. So yeah, make sure you go check them out. They're tonight's sponsors tonight. We don't have any deals with them for like a discount code or something like that. So someday we will.
Hopefully.
Yeah. So we're working on that. So let's get into the beef and cheddar.
Oh man.
Did we land on the moon? Before we start, I'll start 2 minutes. All right. Did we land on the moon, Mountain Man?
All right. So I'll give you guys a couple of my thoughts on this. So I go back and forth between this a lot on whether or not we actually landed on the moon or not. I believe that like it's like a 50-50, like that either we didn't land on the moon or we did land on the moon and we saw something that we weren't supposed to, or something that told us not to be there. I've seen some things about sets set up that look like the moon landing and stuff like that they found in California and everything. Like reporters broke into the doors and found these sets and stuff like that. So, I mean, it's just hard to know exactly what happened, especially with the delay and everything like that, which I'm sure we'll get into, of communication, where people believe. Well, people are saying that they heard certain things over that time of communication between NASA and I believe it was Buzz, right?
Buzz Aldridge.
Yeah. So, but there was
Neil
some
Armstrong, and then the third guy.
But there was some communication between them and NASA that isn't open to public ears. They say that they lost the sound track and everything like that, or whatever, for that missing time. But there's people out there in the world that have apparently copies of this, and I mean, it's just it's hard to just take people at face value and take them on their word nowadays. I think is the hardest part.
Okay. So basically, to cut time, whatever he said, that's me as well. Like, completely honest. Like, there's nothing out there. The only thing that I will add is there's actually, if you go to historychannel.com and you find the Buzz Aldridge show they did about him, they did a show and they asked him some questions that obviously he could ask because he had a non-disclosure agreement about the mission most of his life. And recently the agreement has become voided because of time.
Right.
So they asked
it's been declassified.
Yeah.
And
So they asked him a couple questions, and he did admit that they said that they saw something when they were launching.
Mm-hmm.
And he did also admit when he was on the moon walking around that he saw structures
right
on the moon, and also took a picture of one, very blurry, but he took a picture of something. And then in the same show, the actual communications guy, the guy who stayed up in the probe, like above the moon,
right,
he actually told Buzz and Neil when they got back in the pod together that the whole time he was being watched by a spherical craft that was literally like every time it moved closer, it stayed the same distance and moved with the craft. So he said that that was very frightening to have something that he had no fucking clue what it was following him and staying with him the whole time.
I mean, it's just it's amazing all the different things that are coming out these days, especially right now, all the things that are being declassified on what astronauts see when they're up there, because I mean there is a lot of unexplained things that astronauts see while they're up there, and it's crazy that it's almost held from the public, the general public.
Yeah, so basically, do I believe we land on the moon? I do not. I'm very shaky on it, actually. If we did land on the moon, we were told never to go back, and Neil and Buzz were the first and last people to step on the moon.
Right.
Because I truly believe that they were met by something and not hostile, but
stern.
Yeah, could become hostile if broken. But I truly believe that they were approached and literally told, like, don't come back. Like, you have no business here. So what are you doing here?
Right.
So bounce. And I think that's why they hit a lot of it, because they probably got transmissions. Obviously, hopefully, other people other than Buzz and Neil were told, like maybe like NASA Houston or whatever, they were listening to them transmute to the people. So, well, hopefully we haven't broken it, because we're all still alive. So
that's a good thing.
It's been quite almost 60 years almost, right? Something like that. Yeah. So hopefully we stay good. So that's our take before we go into the whole spiel, the whole show. But basically, a lot of my information tonight has come from Wikipedia and Moon, America's $30 billion Swindle. There's a lot of stuff that's by that was self-published in 1976 by Bill Casing? Yeah, Bill Casing, a former U.S. naval officer with a bachelor's in art, a bachelor's of art in English, despite having no knowledge of rockets and technology writing, was hired as a senior technology writer in 56, Rhinestone, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so yeah, basically that's where most of my information comes from. I have personally actually read the book. It's actually really fucking good. Because like Mountain Man said, he's one of those guys that hold evidence of the whole studio setup that we actually did launch something in the sky. Obviously, people were there. We launched something, but people were not in it. And from there, obviously, when they got to the moon, several hours later, well, actually, it was like 3 days, right? Something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
Oh, yeah, a couple days later, he basically talks how he was hired to write for them. And he basically wrote half the script, if you would so say, for the moon landing. So
that's awesome.
It's really good because he still has the original script with the director of NASA's signature on it. It's okay in it. He is protected under a non-disclosure agreement. I mean, obviously he's breaking it in the book, but he hasn't publicly came out and like sat down and had a formal interview because he's afraid. So, I mean, I would too.
Oh yeah,
it's
definitely.
The U.S. government.
Next thing you know, the Rothschilds, the Clintons, the whole government knocking on your door.
Yeah, right.
Just to walk in and find you killed yourself or something.
So, first of all, I'm going to cough. First of all, why would we wake up one day and say, let's go to the moon? So what are the motives behind faking the moon landing, basically? So, motive number one, obviously, the space race against the Russians. It's very, very plausible to prove that America got to the moon first is obviously to fabricate a moon landing with actually not going to the moon and basically tricking a shit ton of people, the whole world.
That's crazy.
So, yeah, there's a lot of information. There's a lot of books in this section that you have to read. I haven't really read a lot of it. But there was actually one book written by a Soviet Union officer. He actually, forget his name. I want to quote names in here. I don't want you guys just to be like, yeah, this guy and that guy.
This guy said, man, that he was like totally the dude.
Right.
Hey man, we're stoners.
McMillan. There you go. McMillan. I can't pronounce the first name, so we'll go with McMillan. He was basically part of the whole Sputnik, sending Sputnik in the sky. He was part of that whole Soviet thing.
Yeah.
A whole lot of noise there. Bart Sibrel? Am I butchering his name?
Probably, but it's okay.
Bart Sibrel. He basically took to the Soviets and said that they don't have the same technology the U.S. did, so that's why they didn't get to the moon. Well, they have said they've been to the moon. Do I believe it? I don't know. They said they've actually been to the dark side of the moon. So.
Yeah.
You all know how that works. I think also, there was nothing abrupt about the Apollo cancellations, which were made for cost-cutting reasons. They were announced in January and September of 1970, 2 full years before the late 1972 claim. See Vietnam War below. Holy shit, Vietnam. I didn't even read that part. Vietnam War was part. It's crazy.
That's nuts, man.
And obviously another...
Most likely, yeah.
big thing is NASA's funding and prestige. So they basically raised $30 billion in 1950, like 1950s,
just to go to the moon.
Just to go to the moon.
That's crazy. So I mean, yeah, definitely in trying to avoid the humiliation and everything and everything with putting that much money into this program, you know, definitely tried to make sure that it happened, if you know what I mean. No matter what, that it happened. So
see, this is my favorite one. This is the one that I want to talk about. The Vietnam War being behind this. Obviously, everybody knows that Vietnam War was the most unpopular war America has ever been in.
Oh yeah,
we literally had a breaking point of almost politically dividing the country into another civil war over if we should stay in the war or not. Because we were in the war for about 20 years when all the actual protesting and stuff started. With like obviously, if you really won't really go on Netflix and watch the trial of the Chicago 7, that'll give you a big, for instance, about the big people behind those movements. But I think the U.S. government, obviously, each president that was through the war obviously inherited a very unpopular war to the American people. So I tend to believe that Kennedy, being smart man he was, said that we need to distract America from something, from this war.
Yeah.
Because he wanted to get us out. And that was awesome, and it got him shot. But I don't think he had the power to bring us out because Congress didn't like Kennedy. Like they were all Republicans in there. So, and the Republicans were all there. Well, no offense, but Republicans are very pro-war. So it's
I mean, it's something that makes money, and they're very pro money. That's for sure.
Definitely, but I think Kennedy and Congress came up with this whole elaborate. Obviously, they raised $30 billion for him too, but
I
think they got together and said we need to distract America. And what do? We've been in the space race with Russia for a couple years.
Mm-hmm.
We're on the downside of the Cold War. And Russia said they're going to the moon first. So
what does America do?
We put two astronauts on the moon. All of a sudden, when every single rocket we shot in the air blows up, lost countless lives in the Apollo missions up until the successful launch of Apollo 11. A lot of people died. But during this whole space race, a lot of people turned their attention to the space race and took their eyes off the war of all them. Unfortunately, I'm a historian. I love wars. I love everything history. But Vietnam War, if we would have never had Vietnam War, it probably wouldn't bother me. Like, I mean, that war would have never existed. It's like not a war that I would like to talk about because there's a lot of it. For one, it's a lot of what really turned me off from the war was the drafting. It was just basically taking an 18-year-old right out of high school
and involuntarily putting him into servitude,
and then most likely dying.
Yeah.
Like most likely he's gonna die, and unless he was a good soldier. But other than that, if he was just a normal Joe Schmo, he was probably gonna die or come back with no arms or legs.
Yeah, or worse. I mean, the scars that people don't talk about are the ones that are unseen. You know what I mean? And those really hurt people. So I mean, definitely coming from a veteran here, man. If y'all ever need any help, definitely reach out to the Veteran Crisis Hotline, for sure.
So, to get back on track, Vietnam War will probably be another podcast one day. But basically, our next little section is hoax claims and rebuttals. And this is going to go back and forth with conspiracy people to actual people who believe that we actually did land on the moon. So, we'll start at number 1. Number of conspiracies involved. The conspiracy would have involved over 400,000 people who worked for the Apollo project for nearly 10 years.
Jesus Christ.
The 12 men who walked on the moon, 6 others who flew them as command module pilots, and 6 other astronauts who orbited the moon.
12 men who... How...
12 men who walked on the moon, which would be
12 people on the moon?
We've only put 12 people on the moon.
I didn't know we've put 12 people on the moon. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I knew we put 2 on the moon. Well, I suppose we put 2 on the moon, but I mean, there's been multiple launches after that, but in my lifetime, every launch that we put into the sky blows up.
That's what I'm saying. So that's where I'm wondering where these other 10 people came from that have apparently walked on the moon. That's nuts. Oh, maybe other countries.
Probably other, yeah.
Yeah.
I know China's been to the moon. I know Russia's been to the moon.
But have they even been to the moon?
Probably not.
What if this is just a giant conspiracy globally?
It probably is. It brings in a lot of money. Who wouldn't want to go to the moon?
That's what I'm saying. And then here comes Elon Musk up into the bunch, you know what I mean, to actually bring us to the moon.
Right.
And then now the government's trying to like push off his missions and stuff like that. He's like ready to go. He's like, yeah, man, I got all this fucking shit sitting here ready to send it into the fucking air, dude. And they keep on like pushing it off and pushing it off and pushing it off and nuts, man.
So hundreds of thousands of people, including astronauts, scientists, engineers, technicians, and skilled laborers, would have had to keep this large secret. Langowski argues that it would have been much easier to really land on the moon than to generate such a huge conspiracy to faking the moon landing, which we will give a big boo to Langowski because you're full of shit. It's actually probably easier to keep all them people silent. They either keep silent or get silent.
Like, hey, man, like, think about it. Back in the 60s, like, hey, man, here's $1,000. Shut your mouth and go to work. You know what I mean?
Exactly, and there's more to come. You're going to bring in a paycheck. To date, nobody from the United States government or NASA's linked to the Apollo program has said the moon landings were hoax. So basically, every single person involved said that it's not hoax. Up until, what's his name? I forget the guy's name. The first guy to come out about it. The director. We'll get into him in the show, but there's a director who's directed the moon landing in California. But he was the first to come out and speak out against it.
Yeah.
That's why we know his name.
Crazy.
So our first section here is going to be I fucking jumped the whole fucking spot. Gillette, I guess that's his first name, made note of this in a conspiracy theory episode of his. Gillette made note of this in the conspiracy theories episode of the television show Penn and Teller Bullshit in 2005. With the number of people involved in noting that Watergate scandal, Gillette noted that someone would have outed the hoax by now. So one of my favorite magicians out there believes we landed on the moon. So I mean, I still like him though. But
yeah, but he's definitely wrong.
One rebuttal claimed that NASA had all the work on the Apollo program. This would have allowed for only a small number of people to actually know the truth about faking the moon landing, which is true. Because they could think a lot of people could actually have built a spaceship, worked on the spaceship. The astronauts obviously probably were in on it. But you would only have to have some people, because all you got to do is put a whole bunch of people in a room. You're actually launching this real spaceship into the air somewhere. Yeah. So they believe that they're actually going to space.
I mean, we launch satellites. We have an international space station. I believe that's real.
Yeah.
I 1,000% believe that's real. They take pictures from it all the time. So, but I know that we can get into space. I think we just haven't quite mastered landing on it. You know what I mean? Like, even when we try to land rovers places and stuff like that, dude, how crazy and catastrophic it goes every single time.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? Or even if they did make it to the surface, though, like just hear me out. Like, they have these suits on, right? So, like, how could we possibly even tell the difference if they were to cut the scene? Because everything that was recorded and sent out was on a time delay. And it was specifically designed that way. So that way, if there was something that the government wanted to censor out of it, they could.
Yeah.
And that's it. I mean, they've come out and said that. That's entirely the whole reason behind why they did that.
Yes.
Because there's no reason for a 5-minute delay.
Yeah.
At all. I mean, I get that there's going to be a delay, but there's no reason for live television to be that delayed. So what I believe actually happened is when that sound cut, because there was something where the astronauts have another line that they can talk on for medical reasons with their physician, and it's a private line that's not broadcasted live. So there was, don't quote me on the time, but a minute or 2 minutes and change where there was just this clip of time where it was just missing. So what's to say, you know what I mean, that it didn't then flop from the moon landing to that studio where they recorded the rest of the moon landing. You know what I mean? So it's just like, there's a lot of different ways that this can go, but I definitely believe 100% in my soul, dude, that what we know today as a public, as the American society, as the world, is definitely filtered for what they want us to know.
Yeah.
But it's hard, you know what I mean, to know whether or not they filter this for our own good or not. I mean, so that's a rabbit hole too, man, because, like, you know, deciding for the people, you know what I mean, what's good for them and what's not good for them without their, you know, knowledge, you know what I mean, is wrong in itself. You know, it's a ethically wrong thing to do, to withhold information from someone because you think that it's, you know, would hinder them in any kind of way is wrong, especially to the science community and to all that stuff with things that we battle on our planet. You know what I mean? Things like cancer, things like people dying from viruses, you know what I mean? So it's like, it's just to withhold something like that from our country, you know what I mean? That could have saved so many people. It's just hard, you know what I mean? But then again, you think about it from the government's standpoint, where it's like, you know, population control and stuff like that, because, you know, we already have an issue with population and everything. It's just a rabbit hole, man. It just keeps going, you know what I mean? So
that's crazy.
Sorry, you know me. I get on tangents sometimes.
Right.
Because then everything that keeps on repeating in my head, dude, you know what I keep on seeing? Is that stone, that weird fucking stone that came out of nowhere for the One World Society, and how we joined the Intergalactic, you know, Federation. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like it just all makes so much sense. You know what I mean? And I really think that moon landing, man, is what sparked most of the shit that we're going through today.
Right.
If it did happen. But hey, man, what else we got on here on this thing?
Oh, okay. So basically, I got a couple things that the conspiracy guys out there talk about. They talk about, there's a lot of scientists and physicists out there that believe that when we launched to the moon, that some of the astronauts couldn't. Well, the astronauts in general wouldn't have survived because of radiation. Because at the time, we did not have the proper equipment to resist radiation, high forms of radiation like that.
So therefore, Buzz and all them, they'd be dead.
They would have died. And the radiation are the Van Allen belts of radiation. Basically, they suggest that if the ship would have went through it, all the radiation would have went through it and would have completely killed the astronauts on touch. Like, because there's so much compacted radiation in these Van Allen belts. Another big thing is all the pictures that would have been taken if they would have survived the radiation, all the pictures and stuff like that they take from outside the shuttle and stuff like that, they would have actually been fogged, because pictures, when you take a picture of radiation, it shows in the picture.
Yeah.
So it brings up like a foggy presence. Like basically like you take a picture of anything and it looks foggy, but that's
Right.
where the radiation. But all these pictures were clear. And a lot of scientists out there said, well, why ain't there radiation when they were taking pictures? Because there are, they have read like all the logs and stuff like that, and they actually took pictures going through the belt, took pictures of like the belt itself, and that means they were inside the belt, which the radiation could have been visible from all the pictures. And the camera that they took was like a really, really good camera. I actually have what the camera was. It was, I guess, the shit, because it was by NASA.
Yeah.
It was the shit.
High resolution Hasselblad 500 L.
Either EL or L cameras. With
EL cameras with Carl Zeiss optics and a 70 millimeter medium format film magazine.
That just sounds badass. Like if you have a name that big.
Right. You can't go wrong. There are no stars in any of the photos. Holy fuck. No way. I'm going to have to relook at some of this stuff, man. The Apollo 11 astronauts also stated in post-mission press conferences that they did not remember seeing any stars during EVA. What's EVA stand for?
EVA, I don't know. It's all throughout these notes.
Yeah. Oh, it's apparently on page, or I don't know, note 54. That was weird. Anyway, conspiracists contend that NASA chose not to put the stars into the photos because astronomers would have been able to use them to determine whether the photos were taken from the Earth or the Moon, by means of identifying them and comparing them their celestial position and parallax to what would be expected for either observation site. What the fuck? So essentially they didn't put the stars in the photos so that way people couldn't...
That's why astronomers couldn't look and be like, that's bullshit. You took this... Like, because that like basically, like if they found a constellation in the background, they can actually prove where the constellation was and say, okay, well, they were on the moon on this day, at this time, at this minute, at this second, and they can look at these books and logs, and they can sit there and say that's bullshit because the constellation was here at this time, at this minute, at this second, because stars don't lie.
Yeah.
So. When it comes to that, because if you
don't know, I mean, are you accounting for the 33 minutes and whatever seconds that we lost in 2012?
Oh yeah, that is true.
Right? Crazy.
We just don't know about it.
Yeah,
we don't know it happened.
Nuts.
But
check out our podcast on that, by the way.
Yeah, right. And then back to more photos. The moon's surface during the daytime is so hot that the camera film would have melted. And they were on the moon taking pictures during the day.
Yeah.
That's what NASA said. So the film was kept in metal containers that stopped radiation from fogging the film's emulsion. Furthermore, film carried by unscrewed linear probes such as the Linear Orbiter and Luna 3, which used onboard film development processes, was not fogged. So that's a rebuttal. All the stars are either rebuttals or the conspiracy.
Copy.
You just got to read the question. That's how I set it up. The moon. Okay, so there's no atmosphere to effectively bind linear surface heat to device, such as cameras. They are not in direct contact with them. In a vacuum, only radiation remains as heat transfer mechanism. The physics of radiation heat transfer are thoroughly understood and properly used. Of masked optical coating and paints was enough to control the temperature of the film within the camera. So basically somebody said that's bullshit. They had a metal container that saved it all.
Damn. Well, I mean, I almost was on board with that one, dude. But I mean, listen, they can say whatever they say at the end of the day.
That guy who said it probably was like, said, okay, here's $1 million. Say this because you're credible.
That's what I'm saying. It's just, it's hard because it's all a game of he said, she said, because like you don't know who's telling the truth, because I mean, this was 70 years ago. And if I'm not standing in front of the person saying, hey man, did you tell the truth? Hey, tell everyone, come on. Did you tell the truth? You know what I mean? Then how can we, know for sure whether or not it did or did not happen, or what exactly happened if it did?
Yeah. So the next one is Apollo 16 crew could not have survived a big solar flare firing out when they were on their way to the moon. Well, I've actually heard about that, and I actually don't believe, because obviously there's record and there's astronomers saying that it never happened.
Right.
And let's see. Yep. No large solar flare occurred during the flight of Apollo 16. There were large solar flares on August 1972 after Apollo 16 returned to Earth and before the flight of Apollo 17. So, if people say you can launch to the moon, if a solar flare is happening, you would have died. So, if you were coming back from the moon and a solar flare was happening, could you die?
I mean, I don't see what the difference is.
Yeah, so somewhere, I think
that's contradictory.
There's nothing there. It's just one line. Two sentences. Something ain't right. I don't believe that.
What page are we on?
Page 8.
Oh, let me catch up. I'm sorry, I was reading through all the other shit. There's just so much information here. It's crazy.
There is. I'm just going through picking out all the good shit for all of our peoples out there. So
footprints in the moon dust are unexpectedly well preserved despite the lack of moisture. For that one, we have moon dust has not been weathered like Earth sand and has sharp edges. This allows the dust particles to stick together and hold their shape in the vacuum. The astronauts likened it to talcum powder or wet sand. This theory was further debunked on the Mythbusters episode NASA Moon Landing.
anything else you see interesting, Mountain?
Oh, here's that stage.
The stage?
Yeah. Is this next one? You want me to read that
Yeah,
one?
go ahead.
Oh, man. All right. So, the alleged moon landing used either a sound stage or were filmed outside in a remote desert, with the astronauts either using harnesses or slow motion photography to make it look like they were on the moon. One of the first things we got here is while the HBO miniseries From the Earth to the Moon and the scene from the movie Apollo 13 used the sound stage and harness setup, it is clearly seen from those films that when dust rose, it did not quickly settle. Some dust briefly formed clouds. In the film footage from the Apollo missions, dust kicked up by the astronauts' boots and the wheels of the lunar rover vehicle rose quite high due to the low lunar gravity, and settled quickly onto the ground in a uninterrupted parabolic arc. That's a mouthful. Since there was no air to suspend the dust. Jesus. So I mean, I guess they kind of debunk it. I don't know.
Yeah, they used the movie to debunk it though. Movies ain't. Well, the movie was factual,
but at the same time, like it's not like the movie showed the whole thing. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Plus, in Apollo 13, they never fucking land on the moon. They're stuck in their fucking spaceship the whole time.
That's what I'm saying, dude. Like, I don't know.
I think the most realistic movie. Sorry, we're stoners, so we get off. But
Totally.
I think the most realistic space movie out there is either that movie, 2000 Odyssey 2001. I think it's called Odyssey 2021.
Yeah, something like that.
Or no, Odyssey 2001. Sorry, that one or Martian.
Yeah,
with homeboy Ben
Homeboy,
Affleck's,
yeah, Homeboy on when he got
Homeboy.
left on Mars.
Yeah. I think that was a great. I think that was
an
great.
amazing movie. Yeah.
If Mars is anything like that, I hope it's like the movie because like Mars is like it's kind of cool, except for all that bullshit that happened to him. But
I mean, I know my wife would be happy. She's definitely a potato fanatic. That's for sure. But me, I don't know. I don't think I could live off of just potatoes.
No, I don't think so either, dude.
Especially after I ran out of salt, pepper, and ketchup. Oh, man. Fuck out of here.
Oh, yeah, I'm fucking shit up, dude. Hit that. But anyway, a bunch of the juicier stuff is coming up, but we're going to go ahead and take a commercial break real quick, so I hope you enjoy.
Look down at yourself right now. What are you wearing? Is it ratty? Is it old? Does it not fit right? Are you just not comfortable? Are you unhappy with what you are wearing right now? Are you just completely just unhappy with your shirt right now? So unhappy that you just need a new shirt right now? Well, then go over to our fucking Instagram, yo. Seriously, Wiz, give him the deets.
All right, so just like Mountain Man said, make sure you go over to our Instagram at the roundtable_757. Check out our t-shirts and sweaters with our logos on it. $15 for a t-shirt, $20 for the sweater, and we are also will be up later on Instagram our new graphic t-shirt that we came up with. So we'll put that on Instagram for you guys to see. I think it's pretty cool. What you think?
They're comfy as a motherfucker.
Hell yeah, guys. And before we get back to the podcast, we're going to do a couple of special shout outs. Number one on the list is going to be Swags Fishing on Facebook. That would be Swags_Fishing on Facebook.
Number 2 is going to be Flavortown Exotics. That's Flavortown Exotics on Instagram. Go ahead and check them out for all your premium needs.
This next person is, next company is a new one. I actually checked them out once. They're actually really, really good. I got some Backdoor Jungle Boys. Make sure you go check them out at _757_exotics with 2S _ Make sure you go check them out.
And our last but not least is Tropical Grease. Definitely check them out. They're always really good on price, dude. No bullshit. They got some loud ass pack for some really good prices and shit like that, especially when you're trying to be on a budget and you're trying to get that whole O. You know what I mean? Definitely hit them up. It's Tropical Grease, all one word, on Instagram.
All right, now back to the podcast. Welcome back. I hope you guys enjoyed the commercial. It's fun to make little commercials like that for y'all. But anyway, so we're getting back into did USA fake the moon landing? So far, I'm still a firm believer that we did not land there. There's a lot of evidence out there that we did. I mean, factual evidence, science, mathematics, stuff like that. But I just don't believe we went there. I mean, I guess I'm just too conspiracy minded. I believe those photos up there that they had like the pyramid shaped stuff up there. Like, I believe that stuff. Like, it's So it's very hard for me to actually hear some of the rebuttals, like saying like, oh, well, they would have died from the radiation. Oh, but because of the belt and what they were wearing, stuff like that. It's like I just truly believe that we did not land on the moon. I just keep saying that over and over again, but it's crazy to think about it. But it's just with, like, for me, it's like the Vietnam War. Like, they hated, like, the people hated the war, and the government needed to get their mind off of it. So they fabricated something to just throw people on the moon and just say, ooh and ah. I mean, it happens today. So with the little stuff with like, oh, we're doing this, like what's happening in America. Like it's crazy. But soon as Mountain Man gets back into the studio, he's going to take over. It's just the craziest people out there. It's just like, oh, like how can you believe that you landed on the moon? And then there's people out there, it's like, duh, we land on the moon because we're humans. I mean, it's just technology. But anyway, as soon as Mountain Man gets back, we'll continue this. I just wanted to give a little insight why he was out of the studio. But Mountain Man's back.
Hey.
All right, guys. So you heard a lot of my voice. So what Mountain Man's going to do, he's going to lead part 2. So I'm going to be the, ooh, that's interesting, head nod up and down guy. So I'm going to let him take the forefront on this part.
Hell yeah.
This is his janky jank right here on the moon. So I'm going to let him do this.
Hell yeah. So back to the moon landing, or lack thereof. Next on our list, we have transmissions. There should have been more than a 2-second should have been more than a 2-second delay in the communication between Earth and the moon at a distance of 400,000 kilometers, or 250,000 miles for everybody that uses the right one. Just kidding. But seriously though, that, I mean, like there was only like a 2-second delay in the communication between Earth and the moon, right? So we were just talking about that earlier, where, you know, there's a 5-minute delay or something like that in what was given to us and what was actually received. Their little debunk under this with their little asterisk and everything is the round trip light travel time of more than 2 seconds is apparent in all the real-time recordings of the lunar audio, but this does not always appear as expected. There may also be some documentary films where the delay has been edited out. Reasons for editing the audio may be time constraints or in the interest of clarity. What the fuck ever. Typical delays in communications were about 0.5 seconds. Claims that the delays were only a half a second are untrue, as examinations of the original audio shows. Also, there should have been, or should not be, a consistent time delay between every response, as the conversation is being recorded at one end, mission control. I don't know, man. This just all sounds like a bunch of bullshit.
I do. I think it's a whole bunch of bullshit.
Yeah, man. It's like there's an excuse for everything. You know what I mean? Like,
it's just like, I truly believe that there was probably a small delay because of travel. I mean, but like communication travel, like signals and stuff like that. But I truly believe that the delay was so huge for the people that were sitting at home, is because, just like Mountain Man said earlier, the government can sit there and be like, you know what? There's going to be a scientist out there that will pinpoint this particular scene, and they can basically throw us under the bus. So we need to like change that shit real quick.
It's just crazy because like there's so many people out there, dude, that were like small little radio operators, dude, that were able to like tap into the communications that were going on like raw, unedited, unfiltered, transmissions between the moon, apparently, and NASA. You know what I mean? They claim to have heard these conversations. And I mean, there's even some recordings that float around occasionally that I see on some documentaries and shit like that. But it's wild. You know what I mean? That they can just throw an excuse up for everything. That it's like, oh no, the delay was not there. Like, how are you just going to be like, no, there's no delay? You know what I mean?
That's crazy.
No, there's no delay. No, there's no stars. No, there's no, you know what I mean? It's just, it's rough, man.
It's crazy. Is that it? What else?
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple other things here and there about the movie again. You know what I mean? And
the Apollo.
Better signal was supposedly received at Parkes Observatory when the moon was on the opposite side of the planet. And it says this is not supported by the detailed evidence and logs from the mission.
Okay.
That's what I said. I was like, okay. Crazy. And then our next thing, we got some stuff about some missing data. Blueprints and design and development drawings of the machines involved are missing. Apollo 11 data tapes containing telemetry and I think I said that right? Telemetry, yeah.
Telemetry.
And the high quality video before scan conversion from slow scan TV to standard TV of the first moonwalk were also missing. Missing tapes, homie.
There's missing tapes. What?
Yeah. That's what I'm saying,
That's
dude.
Crazy.
Remember, I said a little something about that earlier too, about missing time on the moon and everything like that. It was like missing like 5 minutes or something like that. And that's where I believe, during that time they were like, oh my God, all the actors get ready and action. You know what I mean? Live broadcast from the moon. Nothing's changed,
Yeah.
Like they obviously had the technology to be able to do some dumb shit like that at the time, and then it's like, oh my God, all this raw footage of aliens and everything like that. Now it's like all missing.
Yeah. This, yeah. Like every single, are they really missing or did they take them and hide them? And
That's what I'm saying.
or did they just burn them? Get the fuck rid of it. I mean, just
maybe
no
it was
evidence.
part of the deal from the people that they met there.
Yeah, true that. But I know there's also a few things in here that I was just reading over all my notes and stuff like that. I didn't realize this until I read it, but there's another conspiracy comparing the technology used by America versus the USSR, because that's what we had the space race with at the time. Well, the big competitor in the space race.
Mm-hmm.
But they basically says that the USSR actually had more calculated hours in space over the US. They actually were the first to achieve many in space stuff by
like achievements.
They were the first. They didn't land on the moon, but they were the first people to go to the moon, orbit the moon, and do the slingshot around the moon, and then go back into Earth.
Yeah, didn't they say something about being on the dark side of the moon and stuff like that?
Yeah, because they actually orbited the dark side of the moon and stuff like that.
I heard that they lost like 3. There's like a documentary I remember watching.
Yeah, they actually lost 10 cosmonauts up there to the dark side. Because when everybody started, quote unquote, landing on the moon, Russia took it to the dark side of the moon. Craziness, because the moon don't rotate. So they went over to the dark side of the moon and then literally lost
everything.
It lost communication. Obviously in the show and all that stuff, like they say, like, oh, it was too cold.
Yeah,
the
and
systems
that it
froze
crashed
up
into the moon or something like that.
Yeah, crash landed, all that noise. But the conspiracy theorist in me believed that they landed in
a base.
There was something that didn't want them there, and they made sure that they didn't leave.
Or that, yeah.
But yeah, basically this guy Dr. David R. Williams says that USSR was vastly more, better at space exploration than us.
Crazy, dude. You ready? Rabbit hole number 2 for this conversation.
All right, go ahead. Rabbit hole number 2.
Is Hitler actually not in Peru and is really on the dark side of the moon?
What?
I said, is Hitler really not down in Peru and on the dark side of the moon? Oh, do you not know that conspiracy theory?
No, about
that Hitler's still alive and that they smuggled him out to like somewhere down in South America and he's like hiding out in a bunker.
Argentina,
sorry. Okay.
If you actually read the book by R.S. Cooper, it's called Fleeing. It's called it's like Nazi, Argentina. So that's it's basically weird. There was so real quick.
Here we go.
There was actually like down in Argentina, there's a bunch of Nazis that went there and weren't found out until like later on, and they got away. They couldn't do nothing, or they just ended up dying, and people just told and stuff. But the craziest thing is that there was a Nazi doctor that actually went down like a city in Argentina or whatever, and he actually did experiments down there still. And 1 in every 3 pregnant women will have twins with blue eyes. Hell yeah, you should look that shit up, everybody. It's crazy. And before that, twins were like 0.0001% within the community.
Yeah.
But after he was there and died there, 1 in 3 pregnancies had twins.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so he did like fucking with blue eyes. Like that's it's not just twins; it's twins with blue eyes. And these people are like dark-skinned people, and like blue eyes are common, but blue eyes are common in Caucasian white people. Like that's where you get your blue eyes most of the time. It's Caucasian people, but these guys are like South Americans, dark-skinned with blue eyes. Like shit. It don't have Nazi written all over it. Like
that's crazy. I'm just saying. So it's either that or the dark side of the moon. No in between, dude.
That'd be some shit if he was actually like 107,
right?
Chilling in his space bunker.
I could see it, dude.
Getting some alien.
Well, think about it. I mean, without gravity and stuff like that, people could potentially
live longer.
In outer space than they could.
Yeah, because your body doesn't run as hard with the gravity.
And as long as you, exercise and eat right and stuff like that, and do everything you're supposed to do, you know what I mean? I don't know, man. What more do you really need?
It's coming soon,
right? Thank you, Elon Musk.
Yeah, Elon to Mars, baby.
Yep, Dodge to the moon.
So. Mountain, what is conspiracies without murder? Come on now. Like, every conspiracy has those guys that die. So, I have a list of deaths of the NASA personnel involved with the Apollo missions.
Oh, so all the people that didn't take the buyout.
Yes.
Gotcha.
So, in a televised program, well, this is where the information is coming from. In a televised program about the moon landing hoax allegations, Fox Entertainment Group listed the deaths of 10 astronauts and 2 civilians related to the crewed spaceflight program as part of a alleged cover-up. So, our first victim of the Clintons. It was Theodore Friedman, killed ejecting from a T-38, which had suffered a bird strike October 1964. So most likely, there's not a lot of information that came with it, but most likely it was probably a sabotage.
Yeah.
And the cause of death was sabotage by bird, but the bird wasn't there.
I mean, have you ever seen a baby pigeon?
No, I actually have not.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Okay, the next one.
Thank Como, he's behind that one.
Elliot C. and Charlie Basket. T-30. Bassett.
Like
the
hound.
Oh, okay. So T-38 crash in bad weather, February of 1966. So that was probably sabotage as well.
Yep.
Virgil Gus Grissom, Ed White, and Roger B. Chaffee?
Yeah, I can dig it. Chaffee.
Killed in fire during the plugs out test preceding Apollo 1.
Ooh.
January 1964. So we'll speculate that these guys knew that they were going to fake this and sabotage their workspace, probably.
Oh, this one feels very Clinton-y.
Okay, go ahead.
Edward Ed Givens. He was killed in a car accident in June of 1967.
The Clintons cut his brake wire, bro.
Oh, yeah, dude. All the way.
If it wasn't Hillary, it's 67, so it could have been Hillary.
It sure could have.
It could have been Hillary.
Either that or Pelosi.
Anyways. So I guess the T-38 has a couple bodies on it. So Clifton C.C. Williams killed ejecting from a T-38 October 67.
Crazy.
Real quick, before anybody says, what is a T-38? A T-38 is a practice, basically a practice jet that NASA uses for astronauts.
Gotcha.
They go like Mach 1, Mach 2, shit like that. They're really fast, but that's all they do is there for training. That's all it is. So that's the T-38. It's nothing too crazy. It's like my dad was in the military. He flew in a T-38. I mean, it's just a training aircraft. Like that's all that shit is.
Gotcha.
But anyway, so next, this is a long one. Mike Adams died in an X-15 crash, November 1967. Adams was the only pilot killed during the X-15 flight test program. He was a test pilot, not an astronaut, not a NASA astronaut, but had flown the X-15 about above 80 kilometers or 50 miles.
Damn.
So I have no fucking clue what an X-15 is. Craziness. So if you guys give me like 5 seconds, I know I need to be faster at this, but what's it called again? An X-15?
X-15. So damn, so they killed him for being one of the only pilots to pretty much go close enough to outer space to know what the fuck's going on up there.
So it's the North American X-15 is a hypersonic rocket-powered aircraft. It is designed for low orbit flying.
Damn. So because he's low orbit flown before, they killed his ass. That's nuts.
And it goes 4,520 miles per hour.
Now, I know I keep on saying they killed him, but I don't know if they actually did. It's speculation. So...
Only 12 pilots piloted this. And it's actually it was retired in 68.
Damn.
So it was only like 2 years. It was failed programming because when it came back into orbit, it burned up. Like,
damn.
The pilots were good. The pilots were straight, but it burned up the aircraft something big. Is there any more people that died?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Let me flip this page. Oh, yes. Robert Henry Lawrence Jr. killed in an F-104 crash December 67, shortly after being selected as pilot with the U.S. Air Force Manned Orbiting Laboratory, or laboratory for you weirdos out there, MOL program, which was canceled in 69. So that's crazy. Why would they kill him? That's fucked up.
That's nuts, dude. Then we got a Thomas Renaud Barron, North American aviation employee. Barron died in an automobile collision with a train, dude. On April...
With the fucking
They got
train.
the whole ass date, dude. April 27th of 1967. Fact check it, y'all. 6 days after testifying before Rep Allen E. Tegs. How would you pronounce that?
Oh, I'm not looking. I'm sorry. I'm
Tegu.
fucking with the computer over here.
Teagle.
Teagle.
House Subcommittee on NASA Oversight hearings held following the Apollo 1 fire, after which he was fired. Damn.
So he was going to snitch.
That's nuts.
Clintons did it.
Telling you.
But sorry,
man, we got a couple that are super Clinton style. There's a suicide on our list down there.
Oh, dude, there's more and more and more. Holy crap! But anyway, is it? What page are we on? I'm lost. I'm
Number
high.
14.
Okay, so we were talking the F-104.
Yeah.
I wanted to check. Sorry, that was like on my mind. I really wanted to figure out what that shit was called. What the shit is. F-104. That is an F-104.
Wow, that's a bad looking motherfucker. Lockheed
F-104
F-104
Starfighter. Holy shit.
Shit, dude.
Starfighter.
That's very Space Forcey.
First flight was 54.
Yep, definitely something that they probably use today in the Space Force.
Yeah, probably. I totally forgot about that. Not even gonna lie. So is it still in it? It is not retired. They probably still.
It was retired 31st of October in 2004 in Italy.
Where the fuck you see that at?
Up top. From wikipedia.org.
Oh, okay. So it lasted a long time. First flight was 58.
Jesus. I mean.
No,
damn.
first flight was 54. It was introduced 4 years later after that. So, yeah, I just wanted to see what a fucking that's a cool name. F-104 Starfighter. That shit sounds like Star Wars-ish.
Right?
Like, that shit's cool as shit.
Damn near 50 years of service. That's wild, dude. I mean, that is damn near unheard of, especially in the military community.
That's crazy.
Max speed of 1,450 miles per hour. Cruising speed of 519 miles per hour. That's Mach 2.2, dude. 1,450 miles an hour.
That's crazy.
At 3,500 feet. Nuts. Climb rate 50,000 feet per minute. Whew. Tough.
A MiG-15 crash. Yuri.
Deployed as a fighter bomber during the Cold War.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Okay. I can see the
supersonic interceptor single engine.
So that motherfucker flew a cool ass aircraft.
Oh yeah.
All right, so there's a couple more deaths on here. There's really not too big. There's a very, very Clinton suicide here. I smell Clintons all over this one.
All over that one.
And I'm not even going to try and pronounce that fucking name. In 1968.
Gregory.
Yeah, that's that's definitely Gregory.
Yeah. Nelyubov.
Nelyubov. We'll just go with that.
Gregory Nelyubov.
Suicide. I wonder how it was. Wonder how the suicide was.
Crazy.
Was it pills?
Nah, probably the three things that don't hang themselves: Christmas lights, Jeffrey Epstein, and Grigory Nabilaboof. Crazy.
But I'm actually I'm gonna see see if Wiki has anything.
Well, you typed in GRIC.
Oh, see, I thought I hit ORI.
Nelyubov right there. Soviet pilot. Okay, well, there's a little more information. Okay, so this person was a Soviet pilot.
So this is very Putin-ish. Putin taking him down.
I mean, listen. Clinton's got their friends.
He committed suicide on 18 February 66. Okay, he was a cosmonaut, a space. It was no missions. He didn't live long enough, I guess.
He was dismissed from the Soviet space program in '63 for a drunken disorderly conduct.
Oh snap!
His existence in the program was kept secret until the advent of Soviet glasnost in the late 1980s, whatever the fuck that is.
That's crazy.
Nuts.
Oh, he suffered from depression.
But did he?
Did he? I wonder how he killed himself. I'm not even gonna lie. Very morbid to ask, but officially ruled as suicide. It's probably pills.
Probably.
Like, obviously. Like, I don't see a Russian hanging himself. I mean,
neck too strong.
Yeah, right. And he hates Germans, so he's not going to shoot himself like the Germans would. I mean, so it's probably pills.
Probably. I don't know.
Or the Clintons. I mean, you never fucking know. Because the Clintons had big deals with Russia. I mean, so you think rubbing elbows with the fucking... Oh, yeah. Did you hear about Putin naming himself president for life?
What the fuck?
Yeah. There's no more elections unless like there's like a coup.
And somebody kills him.
No, nobody's going to kill Putin. Dude,
why not?
Bro, have you ever seen Putin take off his shirt? Like, dude, bullets will bounce off of his chest.
Dude,
the dude's like 75.
What's his face totally killed the dude from North Korea, so I could believe that anybody could probably get away with killing Putin.
Who killed who?
What's his
Kim
name?
Jong-un?
Yeah, what's the one actor's name? The fucking dude with the curly hair, tall white dude. He's in that movie with wasn't it Seth Rogen?
Oh, you talking about Seth Rogen, James Franco?
Or whatever. James Franco. Didn't if James Franco could take out the leader of North Korea, I believe that we could take out what we need to take out. I'm just saying. Not trying to start nothing, because imagine, dude, he listens to this podcast. He's like, "Death to America," or whatever the fuck they say. You know what I mean? Crazy. No, I think we get along with Russia right now, don't we?
Not since Trump left office.
Oh.
Trump was real cool with them because Trump didn't fuck with them and they didn't fuck with us.
Yeah. Oof.
So, back to Mythbusters. I don't know if you ever seen it. Mythbusters has proven that we didn't land on the moon. They busted it or whatever. So that episode's worth a watch. You should go check that out.
Yeah.
Anybody check out Mythbusters. It's from August of 2008. So whatever season came out in 2008, just check that out. And there's I didn't really think about this one too much, but then I'm reading it now and it really like blows my mind. But if we landed on the moon, why can't the International Space Station take pictures of where the flag is? Why haven't we seen pictures like that? Why can't they take pictures like that? Because if they take pictures of where we landed, there'd be nothing there.
Right.
So, but basically there hasn't been any. There's even, I forget his name. He's like the main guy from the International Space Station, the fucking Canadian guy with the fucking mustache. He's the one who like shows all the videos of what he does on the thing. Even he believes we don't land on the moon. He hasn't like put up his camera to the moon and said, "Hey, that's where they landed." And I mean, obviously, he probably get killed. Probably.
Oh yeah, they would eject his ass right out of the fucking thing.
They would have him sus. They would throw his ass out, vote his ass off the island.
Oh yeah,
real fucking quick. Real quick.
But I mean, how much money do we pay the other countries of this world to keep them quiet about it? You know what I mean? Like it's just crazy to think about. It's like if we didn't land on the moon, You know what I mean? Then how do we keep other people from not saying that we didn't land on the moon?
Yeah. I mean,
or other countries telling us that we didn't land on the moon. What are the other countries' views on this? Do other countries believe we landed on the moon?
Probably because like other countries are not like America. I mean, some leaders sit there and say like, "Hey, this is what happened at this time," and they're like, "Okay," and they just get it on with their normal business,
right?
But my biggest thing with
I'm president for life.
Like, yeah, the biggest thing about population is like, I get it. There's 400,000 people that were involved with the Apollo program. And it seems very hard to keep 400,000 people minus the deaths we talked about, but 400,000 people to say, look, we're faking the moon landing and you guys can't say shit. Like, what the hell was that? That was crazy. If you guys heard that, like, holy fuck.
There was like some people like low rolling down the road, man. Like it looked like they were getting ready to race, but then realized that this is a really small fucking road. Crazy.
Abort.
Nuts.
But no, I mean, I get it. I mean, there's a shit ton of people to keep quiet.
Yeah.
But another big thing is, yay, we brought back moon rocks. They say we did. But they disappeared.
Yeah.
So, like, what the fuck? Like,
you know, like,
yay, we have moon rocks, and then boom, they just disappear one day when the fucking press wants to see it and take pictures of them and shit like that. And then it's like, oh, yeah, somebody stole it.
Yeah. Just like those tapes and just like that recording and everything, dude. The photos.
But the biggest.
So wait, if this stuff was stolen, where is it?
Probably on the black market.
That's what I'm saying. That's what we need to do, man. We need to get up on the dark web, man. You need to get one of. Ooh, what's that one that everybody's always telling us in these videos to go check out, like NordVPN or something like that.
Oh, the Nord, yeah.
Even works in China.
The Beijing, especially the communist out there.
Heck yeah, man. I mean, check out NordVPN for all your needs. And if you're a NordVPN employee, please let them know we're trying to get a sponsor.
Yeah, we will definitely give you a good sponsor.
Oh yeah,
shot.
For sure.
Mid roll, end roll, beginning, whenever you want.
Yeah, just let us know.
But yeah, moon rocks disappeared. But my biggest thing is I truly believe that Buzz Aldrin and Neil Armstrong jumped on the moon. Or landed on the moon. One step for man, one giant leap for mankind. Bullshit.
Beep.
And then they were investigated. They were being watched. They took the pictures of those structures, whatever have you.
Some aliens.
And then I think not hostile. Yeah, basically not hostile. They walked up. They probably showed very sternness in what they were doing. Maybe, I don't know how they talk to them, maybe telepathy, saying like, hey, you guys need to go, like
ET phone
deuce,
home type shit,
like
put the finger
deuces.
out and was like, hey yo bro. Hey punk, get the fuck out. Hey kid, get off my lawn. That kind of shit. Although there's no lawn on the moon. What would you say on the moon? Get off my sand. Get off my non-floating sand.
Get out my crater.
Get off my crater. Dig it. I could see like some little green dude rocking back and forth in a rocking chair with I don't even know what he would have in his mouth. Some sand, I guess. You know what I mean? Chewing it back and forth. And, right. Get off my crater.
But anyway, guys, we gotta take this one down and end it tonight. But make sure you check out our next conspiracy with the toque. It's going to be on JFK. And then make sure you keep watching out for our Gettysburg trip.
I can't wait for Gettysburg.
So we're going to post video, audio, and pictures. We'll post all that. Make sure you guys get to see all that. But anyway, guys, Until next time, remember, keep your tinfoil hats and your bowls close. You never know what may happen.
Peace, y'all.